Welcome back. So last time I was bonding the skins onto the upper part of the doors. So as you can see now, I've taken the clamps off and that came out pretty well. So I spent quite a lot of the time on Tuesday sanding around the edges there and just cleaning up the skins and getting it all sorted out along the edges of the windows as well. And also bolting those fasteners in, the 5 fasteners in the top there. They're going to be covered over. And so as you can see, those are in on both the doors. And now I also created these little brackets, I guess you want to call them, and they hold the pins there in the door, the hinge pins, and stop them from sliding back inward once they've been slid into the pin receivers inside the fuselage. And they're going to get a little screw, at least one little screw there to hold them in, probably just a little flat-headed screw to hold that thing in place so those pins can't work their way backward out. And meanwhile, Devon and Jeff have been working on getting these molds there, temporary molds, prepped up for those inserts for the spars. And you can see Devon's just got a bit of clay there and just sealing up the edge of where that sort of wedge is there at the end. And as you can see, the core pieces are cut there. There's some FR4 for where the hard points bolt through, and also just some regular foam, 1/4 inch. And my next step was to temporarily put the inflatable seals around the outside of the door. And you see I've already done this one and drilled a hole there through the frame so I could pass the feed tube there where it inflates through that tube with the little blood pressure type bulb thing that I've got there. And I'm just using some tape to hold it in place right now because I want to be able to remove it later on for when we go to paint the inside frame of the door. And now we're on to Wednesday today, and Jeff and Devon are laying up the first of those closeouts. These are the ones that are in the radius there for the spar in those temporary molds, so not too complicated to get those underway. And it didn't take them that long, and they had them under vacuum there, as you can see, and they moved them out onto our main work table there for the CNCs, so the vacuum tank could be out there in preparation for vacuuming the other ones there that you can see sitting just behind them there. And along the lines of getting the cabin all sealed up, just using some silicone there on those fasteners there for the A pillars and the B pillars, and just sealing those up. And I've also done the ones on the doors as well, so they'll be pressure tight when we go to pressurize the cabin. And over the weekend I worked on finishing off the design for these inlet vanes that help direct the air into the intercooler and the radiator. So as you can see, they're highlighted in blue. That's the intercooler, and right below it would be the radiator, and obviously the scoop is on the top there. And the vanes, their job is to basically just allow the air to curve around and go through the intercooler. So where I'm drawing the mouse there, that's kind of where the roof line is. The sides of that intake normally are sort of hidden when it's down and exposed when it's up. Anyway, if I hide that, you'll see the air will come down in through the intake there and go in through these the 3 different areas of the vanes, or actually 4 different sections actually. And this just helps direct air to the bottom part of the intercooler. And I did the flow in SolidWorks a while back, and we needed to have this, otherwise all the air just goes to the back and you don't get much cooling in the front of the intercooler. And so here's Dan. I printed out the templates and stuff for him, and he's just been cutting those out on the bandsaw. And then this one, you need to do it by hand in order to get it cut there, because it wouldn't fit under the bandsaw. But anyway, here he's got it basically done here, all the pieces put together. And so I have to go up to Brits now and curve those flat bits and then have him tack it together. And meanwhile, there's Jeff and Devon getting underway with laying up these larger closeouts there for the wing spars. And now I'm on to the other door and putting the door seal around there. So as you can see, I've drilled the hole there through the frame and come out the other side, and I've just run a bit of welding wire through there to help fish that tube through. So I just basically push it back through there, and it's a bit hard to do it with one hand, so there it is after I put the camera down, coming out the other side. And now I can pull it all the way through and start laying out the actual seal around the frame. So not really that difficult to do. And then that actually seals pretty well there. That tube's a snug fit through the hole, but I may have to put some silicone in there as well just to prevent any sort of air leaking back through into that frame, because the frame is hollow, but it's on the cabin side, so it's under cabin pressure. So there, I got it all done, and I'm just starting to tape it down. So I inflate the seal first, and then just put the tape around it to hold it in place, and then you just deflate it again, and the tape sort of loose around the seal. But as you can see, now I've got it all done, and so that door is ready to go on there, and I can take the pressure off the seal again now. So as I said, later on we'll actually bond those seals on with adhesive once we've painted the inside frames again. And here's Dan putting together the second one of these side sticks, just the end bit there that has the little swivel with the fork on it that will connect with a little linkage rod to the elevator torque tube to allow you to actuate the elevator. And Jeff and Devon got those two parts laid up there by the end of the day, so they did all 4 of them today. So tomorrow those can come out and probably get trimmed off and get fitted into the spa. So we'll be actually taking down the cool room and starting to set up one of the wing fixtures, so we can start putting the wings together. That's pretty exciting. And they've taken off the all the bag and everything off these ones and let them cure up. And Dan cut these out of that that stock that Jeff and Devon laid up the other week. So those are for the elevator controls, the rudder controls out in the rudder, and he's in the process of drilling the holes there to mount the seats for the rear seats there, because now those rear seat mounts are done, as you can see, and he's done one side and he's just got to do the other sets. And lastly, I got the first door on with Dan's help, and now the job remains is to get all the pins actuated nicely and the linkages hooked up, and then we can get pretty close to actually getting ready to pressurize the cabin. So that's exciting. So anyway, that's our update for the first half of this week, and tune in on Saturday and see what we get up to. And thanks again for watching.